addiction that I'm talking about is masturbation and pornography addiction. Now I know it's something that, you know, millions of people in the world do. Like, oh, how could that be addiction? It's just masturbation. It's just pornography. You don't know how many messages I got of people telling me, Yusuf, every single night I tell myself not to and then I do it. Yusuf, I do it in the mornings. I do it after school. I can't like stop doing it. It's slowing me down from the things that I have to do. So I'm going to say something to you first about it, and then I'm going to explain to you how I stopped watching pornography and masturbation, because I don't do either of them now, and I'm very proud and happy to say that because it has changed my life substantially. So, right off the bat, the reason that you might find yourself addicted to pornography and masturbation is because what masturbation allows us to do is to get a feeling that you can't get other places in life. Like, you get that feeling of euphoria, that feeling of excitement, that feeling that makes you feel good instantaneously and on your own. Because that feeling that we are getting in a snap of a finger by ourselves, we don't have to do anything for it. We don't have to talk to nobody. We don't have to buy anything. We don't have to see nobody. We can do it ourselves. Now, here's where that can become an issue. You're having a bad day. You're stressed. You're angry. What can you do to make you feel better? Boom. You do what you do and what you are gonna gradually become addicted to. You're feeling really good. You're feeling really happy, and you want to feel even better? Boom. You do what you do. You're feeling sad? Boom. You do what you do. You're feeling hungry? Boom. You're feeling tired? Boom. Any single thing that you go through can be coped with through the masturbation. Now, it doesn't even need the pornography. You could just literally get your fix through the masturbation. Now, over time, if you're gradually learning that you don't want to be doing this, you find yourself still doing it. And that's where it becomes a problem, because now every time you masturbate, you're gonna feel guilty, you're gonna feel shameful, and you're gonna feel bad about yourself because you don't want to do it, but you can't control it. You can't stop it. It's an urge that you just can't fight. It's late at night. You tell yourself, I'm just gonna go to sleep so I can forget about it. And then 3 hours later, you find yourself doing it. And what's that gonna do? Make you feel really bad about yourself, because it's something that you don't want to do, because it brings forth feelings of guilt and shame. Guilt and shame are huge when it comes to addictions. First and foremost, as I said, don't be too hard on yourself. You know, I know this is easy to say in a quick video, but this is, I've had to go to rehab for this, classes for this, to understand my addiction. But never make yourself, you know, feel like you're a bad person or be hard on yourself. Like, be compassionate towards yourself, just as if your friend came up to you and been like, bro, I have this addiction I can't beat. You wouldn't tell them, you're a piece of shit, you're weak, you're not strong enough, you know, you're a bad person. You would never say that. You would encourage them. You would say, bro, it's all good. We all have things. You know, you're a good person. We're gonna beat this together. You wouldn't be hard on them, right? So why be hard on the most important person in your life, which is yourself? So, pornography is usually a huge it goes hand in hand with masturbation, and it can really intensify and also worsen the severity of your addiction. Because what pornography does, guys, it sells you a reality that's not real. It makes you believe in these fantasies. So what you start doing is you create fantasies in your real life about circumstances that do not happen. You can be having a regular conversation with a girl, and all of a sudden you have a thought that you're like, whoa, how am I even having this? Thinking it's a normal thought. Your ideas of sex become different. Your ideas of humans become different, and you start treating people differently. You start treating women differently. You start treating other people differently, and it affects everybody in a different way. So myself, when I used to still masturbate and use pornography, what it did to me, it made me isolate myself, because what it did was I didn't have the need to go out into the real world to, let's say, talk to real people, make real connections, because I was insecure, I was shy, I was embarrassed, I was guilty, and I carried around a lot of shame with me. So I'm sorry about the birds, guys. I know this is a real talk, but they're just going off right now, so I hope that doesn't disturb you from this video. But so every time I would feel a certain emotion and I could just masturbate to get it away, I wouldn't feel the need to, let me call a girlfriend today and see how she's doing, or let me go out and have lunch with a friend, or let me understand what this person is saying, because you become so shut off. You become almost numb because you're nullified. Like your whole body is numb due to what you're doing and your behavior. Your thoughts change, the way you think about people change, as I said, the way you treat people change. I wasn't even making eye contact with people in my real world because I was so insecure by what I was doing, and that happens to a lot of people. And it totally ruined the idea of relationships and sex in my mind, because it no longer became, oh, this is a girl, she's a friend, she's laughing at me, she's joking with me. It became, oh my God, this girl wants to do this with me, I want to do this with her, and I treated her differently because my thoughts were just in these vivid fantasies that were not real. So I'm not condoning this program I'm about to tell you guys about. I'm not telling you guys to do it. I just know I got a lot of messages and people asking me how they can beat this, so here is my advice to you. First of all, I don't want you to think that anything that you go through an addiction is going to be beaten by like cold turkey. Like, you know what, from this day forward I am never gonna touch myself again, and if I do, I'm a shitty person. That's not gonna happen. By doing that, you're setting yourself for failure. The most important thing in an addiction is to take it day by day. Each day is long. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about day 3, day 4, day 5. Focus on day 1. What can you do in day 1 to get through what you're going through? Now, why I gave it up personally last year is because I found that through my actual addiction and through my mental illnesses, whenever I needed to make myself feel good, boom, I could just, you know, touch myself or whatever, get aroused, and I would be relaxed. I would be at ease. But what that does, you see, an addiction is a constant cycle. It's a circle. First you start thinking about doing it, and then you plan how you're gonna do it, and then you take action, and then you do it, and then you tell yourself, I'm never gonna do it again, and you feel guilty and you feel shameful, but all of a sudden the cycle resets itself and you eventually end up doing it again. It's a constant cycle that doesn't end until you put forth a plan to stop yourself from doing it. So first things that I did was just tell myself, I'm gonna take day by day and I'm just not going to do it anymore. Second thing that I did, I started to get active. So if ever I wanted to do something, I would replace what I was doing wrong that I didn't want to do with something active, like the gym or running or Fortnite or whatever it is you want to do to replace what it is that you're doing. Just find different hobbies, talk to people, and most importantly, the most important rule of no fap to understand is what is going to happen once you finally give this up. Because what happened to me, when you give up pornography and when you give up masturbation, what happens in your life is so like massive, you could not imagine. Because all of a sudden you do not have the ability to make yourself feel amazing at the snap of a finger. You have to actually do something to enhance your life and better your life in order to feel those feelings. So you change your sleeping schedule, you change your eating schedule. Instead of not talking to girls, you go out and you make real connections, you make eye contact, you get to know people on a personal level and not just on a fantasy level that you have created in your mind. So it changes the way you interact with people, the way you meet with people. All of a sudden, you go from being alone in your bedroom, not talking to anybody because you're feeling so bad at yourself, to now hanging out with a bunch of friends, guys and girls, and you're able to make eye contact with them, and you're loving yourself because you're making real things happen and you're not doing something that's gonna make you feel so bad in the long run. When you are trying to get rid of your addiction, there are gonna be a lot of triggers. There are gonna be moments where you're doing good, trying not to think about it, but you might see something on TV, you might see something in your real life, and it's gonna give you the itch. Every addict has an itch, whether you wanna pick up the alcohol bottle, whether you wanna pick up the needle, whether you wanna, you know, open your laptop and go to a certain website, you're gonna have the itch. Now, what they tell you to do when like I went to rehab and stuff is whenever I had that itch to do whatever whatever it is that I was addicted to, the most important thing to do, and this might be hard for you guys because you don't want to pick up the phone and talk to anybody about it, is we call it a sponsor in rehab, but you pick up the phone, you call somebody and you're like, hey, just need somebody to talk to right now. You know, can you talk me through this? Like I'm feeling like I want to do my addiction right now, but I really don't want to. Can you talk to me? And that person's gonna help you through it. If you don't want to do that because you don't want to open up to somebody, which is 100% your choice, because the most important thing when you have an addiction that people don't know is to not